Hi everyone, thank you for joining me in the last few weeks of tutorials. Today we're going to do some landscapes and I've chosen some parts of Wallandilly that are really significant to the area, and hopefully as you go you might be able to tell what we're doing, or at the end you'll figure it out. They're pretty cool and I'm excited for you to draw them, so we'll get started. So when we draw landscapes, people usually look at the landscape and go, where do I start? This is really hard. There's trees, there's mountains, there's water, there's the sky. I don't know where I'm going to start. So what I want us to do is just start, just like our water, how we started the other day. We're going to start with our horizon. So just go, just with a pencil. And this doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to present anything, but just do represented by mountains. So that's all I'm doing. It doesn't have to be in a sequence. It's just mountains in the distance. So have a go. And if anyone can comment in the comments when you realise which landscape we're drawing, it's relevant to the Wallandilly area. That would be really cool. So comment and see if you can recognise it as we go along. Okay, so when you've done that, we're just going to go a little bit closer. So we always start with the background and then we just get into the foreground. So might add another ledge here. You can really get creative with the mountains in the background. And just add a few more, just a bit closer. And this is like when we did our waves, except we're not really making them pointy at the top. We're just letting them roll. Okay, and then I'm going to add one more just in front. Like that. So you want a landscape to invite you in. It will be coming right towards the center. That's why I bring this in.
We've just got a comment from Jeff. He said good morning, but he says the picture appears frozen.
Okay.
If anybody else could jump on and say if it appears frozen for them, because what I can see, it's not frozen. So if you mind just popping a comment in the comments section and letting us know what you guys are seeing, that would be really helpful. And we'll see if we can fix it up. But good morning, Jeff. Great to see you back on here.
Okay, so just have a go. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. Just represent mountains with our furthest away, a little closer, and a little bit of a on the side. So it'll all come together soon.
So everybody's saying good morning, all good here. Linda with the Y, hers is fine. Tony's back. I think it's fine, Liv. It does seem to go in and out a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't seem to be freezing on this end.
If it gets worse, I'll quickly change my internet.
Cool.
Technology is fun.
There's always got to be a little complication. We know that, guys, from experience. It can't be smooth sailing every week.
Okay, I'm just going to give you a few more seconds with that one.
As always, guys, feel free to send your progress photos through to the Wallandilly Library Messenger. and we'll start getting an album together.
Okay, so the next step for this landscape is we're going to, just at the back here, start, and we're going to add in a river. So just in there. And this bit at the bottom, why I'm not covering this is it's because it's going to be trees. So hopefully you can see that okay. And just add in your river. So we're just outlining, don't add too much detail. And what I like to do sometimes when doing landscapes is actually, if you put some masking tape along here, like a frame, and then you add that so it's a nice border, especially if you're painting that. Okay, so there's our river, and looks a bit funky just sitting there. So we're gonna, at the end, just maybe extend that border a little bit. So it's just a soft outline at the moment. We don't have more, but we will very soon.
So you are becoming a bit coming in and out a bit more now.
Okay, I'll quickly change the internet, sorry.
No, you're right.
Okay, I think that should be a bit better. So the next step is we're just gonna come off. So if it feels, we want it to look like it's going up. So we're gonna, from little points of our river, just bring in some spots where our mountains or hills might be coming up from. So the river's going to be at the bottom of these hills, and it's going to look like the mountains are coming down. So that's why we're having these lines going up. So just pop a few in. They can be shorter or longer than others, and then see where you go from there. Hopefully you're seeing a picture start to come together. Even down here, add some .
I have worked out what you're doing, Liv. I'm just wondering if anybody else has worked this out. I'm really interested to know.
So what you
Sorry.
what you can do, sorry, along this river. So even side, because with our shadowing, we towards one side so we could see the edge of here, but we there. So I'm just adding some here where you can see it down, but I'm not on this side because we're looking that way. If that makes sense. I'm not very good at explaining things sometimes, but there we go. I hope you can sort of see what I mean with the drawing. So we're just adding an edge. Let me know how you're going and where you're up to as well. I don't want to rush anyone through things. We're going to use some of our trees like we did last week as well. Here you can see I've got some little edges, so I might add some more just detail just by creating some lines in there. And add some hatching or cross hatching. Just little bits as we go. So with what we can do, we're not going to use our techniques like we did last week with our water coming up and down like this, because our view is too far away. If we were closer, we could do that. So what we're going to do is just coming from the outsides, and we're going to just add some cross hatching here and there and some shading. So you can do some blending if you want and just add some lines similar to what we did with our horizon in our water lesson, how we just added some cross hatching. I'm just going all the way along the riverbank. You can have some lines longer or shorter in the middle. This is just giving our river some movement. And you can shade darker or lighter in some areas. You can blend. You can put your pencil on its side and do some blending if you'd like. I think that's a really darker and lighter spots. And we're all just going in this direction. So from left to right or right to left, we don't want to go up and down. Let me know if my connection's a little bit better too. I just want to make sure it doesn't freeze on anyone. Maybe closer, you can do some lines like that if you'd like. So joining, and that's just going in an S motion, just continuously.
We have a couple of comments. Linda with the Y says that her connection's okay. From my perspective, I think it's definitely improved a bit. So that's great. And I'm wondering if people have worked out what they're drawing yet. Still no comments about that.
I actually haven't been here, so when I go up to Wollondilly next, I'm actually going to go.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the trip.
But just keep going and ask any questions if you'd like, or send some progress images. But if you're happy with the way your river's going, just keep going. It might take a little while, but I think it's worth it when it's done.
Got a couple of guesses now, Liv. Tony Smith saying it's Warragamba Dam.
Oh, no, it's not, but close.
Very close.
And it turns out really nice as well if you really dark edges of your river on both sides, and it creates some depth. So it actually looks like it's getting deeper as you go into the picture. So definitely as you go, add some with my pencil in the bit where the water is and along that line, and really making that edge darker. And I'm just using a 3B pencil today, so nothing fancy. This place starts with a B, if that helps anyone.
I've had another guess. Nepean River.
No. And Vicky can help me with this. She's the one that's organized these videos and is a voice behind me as well, just in case I get it wrong.
I feel like I'm under pressure now. I keep Googling it, making sure that I've got it right. And we've definitely got it right. I think we might have a winner. So Susie said that it's the Bargo River, but then we've got Linda with a Y that said it's Burragarang.
There we go.
Linda with a Y, you've hit the nail on the head. Oh, Tony Smith said Lake Burragarang. Yep.
That's what we're doing today. And then we're going to do another one after. So
I think the one after, I think everyone might guess that pretty easily, I hope.
So just keep going. I'm happy with how my water's looking. So now I'm just going edges and just bringing some, this is what I'll say are my reflections in the water, just some darker bits just coming in. And they don't have to be the same. They can be longer or shorter. And just along the edge, just darkening that too. And this is going back from the seascape one. You can really do lots with water, and this is a technique that you can do even in seascapes on a calm, like on a calm beach maybe, or as we're doing a river. There's lots and lots of things you can do for water. Remember to send through some progress shots. And just keep going. I'll give you a few more minutes on that. And then we'll move on to adding some more detail in our mountains. And then we'll add some trees. So if you finish that, edge of the river, and just really darken that. So I'm just going to color that in. But just if you're finished, there's no hurry. That's just the next step if anyone wants to do it. Just on this side that I'm doing now. I'm not going to do that on the other side.
So Liv, no progress photos through as of yet. However, Jeff sent through a progress photo from last week where he practiced drawing a shrub.
Oh, nice.
So that will be up on, that's in the trees album from last week.
Beautiful.
Looks like it's a bottle brush, actually. Looks like there's a bit, is that a bit of color on there?
Let me have a look. So Wallandilly Library. Yeah, feel free to add some color into your pictures too, or anything we practice. It doesn't all have to be black and white. I think we're just doing black and white at the moment, just to cater for everyone if you don't have the other materials. Oh, that's amazing. There we go. Is that Jeff's?
Yes, that's Jeff.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
So when you've finished your river, what I want us to do is sort of just start darkening these lines coming up. I'm going to do a little bit of shading down, so not heaps. But then you can some lines from our original lines coming up. So just like these ones, hopefully you can see that a bit better. Here you can start adding another one coming off it, and same there. And just start, not too many, but just quite relaxed, just to give it a more natural look, and just some more places where we can add some shadow. Even coming up from the river, you can join on. That I just want us to slowly just start away mountains. So just sort of in one, too dark or too soft, change it up too much. But this is just going to just some nice soft shade. If you're using color, really, really good for doing the furthest away mountains. I might do a little watercolor tutorial on my Facebook page if anyone's interested in looking. I'll post my Facebook page in the comments, and I'll try and get to do a watercolor one just to link to this, because I think that would be really cool. Just softly shade the mountains in the back, and that'll just give us some distance as well. So not too much detail, just softly color that in. And you might want to add, if you'd like, just a bit of a tree coming over. This view's from the lookout. You might see a tree in the corner. And then what we did last week, this just might make just using that technique on the side of our pencil, adding some dark spots and then blending around just in light. So we're going to start incorporating trees and bushes into this picture very soon. So just be very relaxed with your pencil as well. Don't be too precious in putting things in the right place. just because I think it makes it less natural if we do that. So just stay relaxed with your pencil and some can go in front of your mountains. So it's just you can always add more detail later. So I'm just sort of putting one in now just to add it into the picture, but you can always add some more detail afterwards. Feel free to comment as well if I'm going too fast or too slow. I just want to make sure everyone's all together and ready for the next step. I'm just going to start adding some shapes at the very front. So you can add some branches of trees, you can add some, I guess, bush outlines. So like the top is. And I'm not being too precise with this. Give us some more detail in the front, and then you can start just if you want, adding little bits of shading to the front. Just like our tree leaf method, I'm just rubbing my pencil on the page and choosing bits to be darker or lighter, depending on how hard I press, and just sort of going in the direction of these. Just pop some branches if you want. Make them look like trees like we did up the top, but just to add some extra detail. There might be bushes, there might be trees, but whatever they are, just be quite relaxed with it. You can add some extra, add some more detail. You can add some leaves if you want, maybe some really small ones at the front. But we really don't need too much detail in a landscape as a whole, more just the shapes. You can really come through and add some more branches if you want at the front. Some more trees. Of course, I'm just doing it quite roughly because I don't have heaps of time to go through it all, but you can really spend some time if you want to add some extra detail at the front. You can really add some more trees if you want. On the tops of trees along here. I'm just going to outline them at the moment because I want to just go through some techniques for doing these parts of the mountains too, but just add some in. I'll spend about 5 to 10 minutes on this. If you missed our tree session, back on the YouTube or the Wollondilly Facebook, and yeah, you can have a look at how we practiced doing some trees last week. I think everyone did really well on that too, especially anyone who's a beginner. I saw some really, really good pictures. I'm going to do some more detailed trees. I'm going to add the shadow on the left-hand side just because this is where our shadow might be coming from. Say our light's going to come from that side. So I'm not adding too much detail, but you can add some more if you'd like. And you can always rub out bits too if you think. So like if you want to rub out the front and put in some more branches, you can always do that too with the water. Are there any progress photos, Vicky?
I think we've had a couple sent through. I just don't know if they've been able to go up into an album. Oh, yep. Just got confirmation that we've posted Jeff's photo. Jeff's progress picture, sorry. Let me see if there's any comments. No comments yet. So I think everybody's just busy working away, which is fantastic.
Beautiful. Oh, that water looks amazing. Really, really good, Jeff. And I love the leaves on there too. Really nice. Okay, so just keep going with that. I'm not going to add too much more detail in there. I could go all day. I'm sure lots of people could too. Just another few minutes and then I'll move on to the next one. And then you can really even just spend a while in the afternoon or for the rest, like during the day, just going back and adding more detail or spending more time if you want. Even getting the picture of that river on the internet and trying to copy some more detail in there as well. Okay, so I hope everyone remembers our dotting technique that we did a few weeks ago in our first initial tutorial. We're going to change that up a little bit, and like we did with the flowers, we're actually going to make our dots a bit bigger. So we're actually going to, if you can see, along these lines, I'm going to essentially dot with different shades of pen, like just different tones, sorry, pressing lighter and darker. And sort of like with our daisy that we did a few weeks ago, these are going to sort of be bushes. So if you can see a little bit closer, they're not dots, but they're sort of circles. And I'm not being too neat, just from the edge with your pencil. And they don't always all have to be connected either. These are essentially the tops of the trees or bushes on a mountain. And just keep going. I think darker looks quite good along those lines, just to exaggerate the crevices in the mountains or the hills. And just have a play around. This could take a long time to do, but I think it gives that notion of distance and makes it look a little bit more real as well. So just have a go. I don't think we'll be able to do all of it today because I want to get onto something else too. But when you're doing landscapes, it's a really, really cool technique. So even just outline the bits a bit darker. Choose where your shadow is coming from. So the front might be a bit darker than the back, but really put those dots in, even different spots. Not dots, I guess, little circles. Different sizes. Press lighter in some, darker in some. And you can really just be very relaxed with it. So I'm going over some spots. I'm bringing some more lines in, bring some more dots along there. This is just to represent the trees or the tops of the trees. I hope that makes sense and you can sort of see how it comes together. And you can really create some shadows. So I'm going to be really dark on this section here and then light behind it. So create some different shades in there too. So you'll notice that that's light and then there's the darker bit coming from the front. Definitely won't finish today. You can always add some blending in there too, or cross hatching. Even some hatching. I just think this is a really, really nice, beautiful technique to create a really, really green mountain. You can just even blend in there as well to fill in the gaps. Have a play and see what you can do. You can even just do it near the outlines and then and then choose a different technique to fill in the rest. But I think this is really pretty. Separate them a bit more if you want, and then blend in between. It does take a while, so we'll just do a few minutes on this and just get as much as you can done. Just add some detail, like even in these sections, you can just colour them in. Like if you've got small sections, even at the back, towards the back, you don't really need these because they might be too far away to see the detail. So just colour the mountains in at the back a little bit darker. So we've got really, really light, a little bit darker, and then we've got more detail. That's why our trees at the front are more detailed too, because they're closer to our eye and we can see the extra little bits. So darken the next mountain in front of it. And then as we get closer to the front of the page, start adding some of those dots or I guess larger circles. Towards the back too, you can even add some shading. So just add some extra lines in those mountains, or you can just
I'm absolutely loving seeing this, Liv.
Hmm?
I'm absolutely loving seeing this Burragurong Valley. It's been, I think it's coming up to 11 weeks since we've started working from home. So it's nice to see a little bit of Wallandilly.
oh, keep posting your pictures too. I know it might not be a full picture, but these are just some landscape tips, and we're using your I guess local area to learn them. So finished. Yeah, we can always work on them, and I'd love to see some more landscapes, even your backyard or your view from a holiday that you might have a picture of. Just really have a go and see what you can do. Just blend along these crevices here. So I'm just blending at the back. It doesn't need to be too detailed. I nearly lost my phone then. And then as you get closer, then you can start adding those dots in. Even go on the other side if you're bored of this side. And I'm just bringing this out from the edge of the river just to make it look like the land's coming off. And you can see my dots really aren't perfect. They're quite messy actually, but in the bigger picture when they're all together, like our trees last week, you probably thought, oh, why are we doing that for the leaves? In the bigger picture, it ends up looking quite nice and quite natural. So just keep going. And then for the sky, you can leave it. You can outline the edges of the mountains. You can add some clouds like we learnt in our seascape lesson. I think that would be quite nice. Pop those clouds in. But really, you can just add lines really anywhere you want. You can join them together. Add extra hills, add more detail, take away detail, but really with landscapes, you don't have to be too fussy about where things go. It's just about the bigger picture. This river in Wollondilly might not actually have these many hills coming off the river, but I guess you can still see that in the big picture it is the river. You could take away a river and just have a mountain range. So there's so much that you can do. A little bit more detail in the back. I'm just adding some lines. And just upwards and towards the center. These are really nice. You can do a line across and down. That sort of some hatching in there. The next, I guess, landscape sort of image we're going to do is going to involve some, I guess, industrial parts. So like some bricks and a bridge. So you can always add, yeah, I guess construction or houses, anything into your landscape too. Doesn't always have to be just nature. Put a house on the side of the mountain.
We have another progress photo posted up from Tony.
Nice. Let's have a look. I like not telling anyone what we're drawing too. It's really cool. Oh, that's amazing. That's really, really good. I love the mountains coming off the river. Really, really nice. And it'll look, I think that would look really, really nice with those just little bits of dots coming off along those lines you've got there, Tony. That's really nice. So just slowly, we're just going to do 5 more minutes of this one. So don't stress and go, oh, I need to finish it. Don't worry about it. We'll just do 5 more minutes and just keep adding, ask questions, put in progress photos, but just keep drawing otherwise. You'll notice I'm just really choosing where to put these dots by where I've put these lines. So that's sort of a guide for you. So you can really and go, oh, I don't know, put them, just follow the lines you've done and then go down from there. So I'm just going over what I've already done. I'm just adding more as we go.
So, Liv, I'm just looking up some facts about Burragarang, the Burragarang Valley. And I remember hearing a story, and so I've just looked it up. So Burragarang Valley actually sits behind Warragamba Dam.
Oh, nice.
And so Burragarang was actually a town.
Oh,
and it was, since the building of the dam, it had to be flooded, and that made Lake Burragarang. And so Warragamba Dam itself, I think, is saying it holds like 80% of like the Sydney or the Greater Sydney's drinking water supply.
wow.
Is what the fact is. But yeah, Burragarang itself used to be a little mining town.
That's really cool.
And it was constructed. So the dam was constructed between 1948 and 1960. And that's what created Lake Burragarang. So there's actually a little town at the bottom of that water supply right there.
Oh, that's awesome. So it was fine that I had my little house in the mountain then.
Yeah, it's fine.
Beautiful. No, it's really cool learning some history. I've come to Wollondilly twice, have I, Vicky, for workshops?
Yeah, and I think we've had you at the opposite end. I think you've been, was it Tamor we had you at?
Yeah.
Whereas Burragarang is in our North Ward. So that sits, the Burragarang lookout is up at the Oaks, and obviously the dam is Warragamba. So we've got a really big area, huge area. I think from memory, we either border on 7 or 8 separate local council areas.
That's massive.
Yeah, really, really big. Really big, but a really small population.
Really pretty area. Did you guys get affected by the fires at all?
Yeah, we did. We were really affected. In particular, I think parts of the Burragarang were burnt out, or lots of Burragarang were burnt out. I know our little town of Buxton was really, really, really hit hard. So yeah, we've been hit hard by drought. We've been hit hard by fires, and we've also been hit hard by floods, all in a space of 5 months, and then coronavirus. So such a resilient community, had a lot going on.
Oh wow. No, it's really nice to see everyone jumping on Zoom and doing these then, and
yeah,
I'd be on board too.
Absolutely.
Another thing you can do, guys, is if you've done some dots, lightly just shade over and fill in the gaps, and that sort of just helps as well with shading. So just have a go, and if you're thinking, oh, I'm a bit sick of doing dots, it actually looks quite nice as well. If you've got some and some shading in there too, fills in the gaps. You can even press down a bit harder too in some areas, and just like our trees, do our mountains like that. We're just going to do maybe 2 more minutes, and then I'm sorry to cut you off early if you haven't finished. I haven't finished either. There's a whole big section that I haven't done, but I really want to get on to the next one too. Try and fit in a lot in these hour and a halves. You probably like me a bit more this lesson than the seascape one, going, oh my God, I'm not done. Okay. So I've actually forgot what this is called, but Vicky knows, so it's even better reason for you to guess what it is. So just keep going and I'll get set up for the next one. Okay, so if you want to get a new page, and then we'll get ready for our next one. Sorry if that was cut a little bit short. I really want to give you as much as I can. Still got lots of weeks to go too. We're going to do portraits next week, so I'm excited.
Definitely got some busy drawers right now. Not many progress photos have come through, but yeah, I think they're definitely busy. But yeah, it doesn't look as hard this time, Liv. Those waves were hard.
Everyone did really well with the waves, though. I was really stoked with the results. And the trees too. Trees are really hard to do, and the leaves turned out really good too. I noticed Jeff did a really, really good water scene with some rocks and stuff, and there was a lady, she said she was a beginner, her name was Leslie. I'm not sure if Leslie's in this one today, but she did some really nice trees. So everyone's actually doing really, really well, so I'm really happy. So we'll get on to the next one. So this is a little bit different. This is close up, so we're actually standing there and we're looking at a scene. So what we're going to start to do, it's surrounded by trees, so I don't have a ruler with me. If you do, that's fine. If you don't, that's also fine. Just lightly on an angle. just try and do as straight of a line as you can. Mine's never really straight, but. And then underneath, getting a little bit wider towards this end, we're going to do another one. Mine's a little bit rough, but. Okay, and then with that, I'm not going to move on too quickly after this. I'll just get going. Just add some lines coming up. And if you realize what we're drawing to, comment below. I can't remember what it's called, so I'm not going to be very much help. So Vicky's going to have to help with that one. And just add some little bits of detail in there. So not too much. You can always add some more later. This is just some hatching in between. Not very close. Doesn't have to be too neat. So I'm just going to leave mine like that. So you notice it's got a little bit of hatching along the top and the bottom, not too much, just enough to give it some detail. I'll just give you a few minutes to do that.
We've had a guest from Linda with the Y, and she's on the right track.
That was very quick.
She's saying it's a, oh, hold on. Sorry, I had a bit of feedback there. But she said a railway line. So definitely in the right direction of what we're doing, but not quite.
You'll probably know in the next 2 minutes when we get on the next one.
I think so.
Okay, so I'll move on to the next bit in 1 second. Just give you a little bit more time. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is just add some and we're not doing the whole thing because there will be trees around it, so an easy way to do this as well is by softly ruling another line underneath, so you can have the tops of these all in the same spot. I don't have a ruler with me at the moment, so I'm just as neatly as I can just trying to add these in and stuff like that there.
We've got some more guesses, Liz. So Tony has said the Menangle Railway Bridge. So getting closer, but then the last 3 comments have just nailed it. We've got Kerry, Linda, and Susie who have said that it's the viaduct.
Oh, there we go.
So nice little walk in Picton. I used to do it in my lunch break actually.
Oh, amazing.
You can walk up and around the viaduct in Picton, which is a beautiful little walk.
So these sort of drawings, they're really not too neat, so you don't really need to sit there with a, you don't have to worry too much. So even take a sketchbook out in your bag day, and if you see something you really like, you can have a quick sketch of trees, you can have a sketch of a house or a bridge, and you know how to softly outline it. And you can always go home and add more detail and take a photo, go on holidays. It's really, really, I think, rewarding doing that. Then just add some lines in between. And then around here, do a soft outline with each of these. That's going to be where the bricks outline the tunnels, I guess. I think my for really doing any of these drawings is just do a rough outline and then add more detail as you go. And you can always go over your lines darker when you're happy with your outlines. Just makes it easier to rub out too if you've made a mistake, rather than pressing down really hard first and then trying to rub it out. Okay, so we've got, and when you've done that, just sort of here and there, just softly add in some bricks. So we're not going to worry too much. And I choose just to do longer and shorter lines throughout. So like this. And all the spots where I want to put some bricks. And then you can just choose little bits in each row to put some vertical lines going down. So don't put them all like that, because I find that looks like wood. Make sure it's in a alternate. So going here, have a space, if that makes sense. So rather than doing, where is it? Rather than doing that, make sure you go one space. So it's sort of like a zigzag. And I hope you can see that in there. So I've done my horizontal lines there. And just softly in each row, just putting lines in different spots. And that's just a quick way to do bricks that look quite effective. Okay. Sorry, I'm not a very good cameraman. There we go. And just try and softly do that in all of these gaps. And you'll notice as well, just take it, usually with these arches, bricks don't usually go horizontal and vertical. They usually just go around. So just come off when you're ready with these and just go around and curving those lines. So it'll eventually be facing up and then going they'll go outwards until they go up, and then they'll go the other way. So just do that as well with all of them. There's no hurry. And you can really go back, I don't think we'll have time today, but you can go back and really add some texture and some shading in, and add some blending and some dotting and give them some texture as well. So like quite dark, and you can go back with some dotting in there. And so that might be something we can, or you can just to add some more detail in there. And you don't have to do all the bricks too, just some quite look too. So remember to send through some progress shots too. Let's give a few minutes to do some more of that. Sorry, I'll be 1 second. If you can hear crying, that's my dog. He wants pats while I'm doing this video. Okay, so just keep going just on those bricks, and I'll give you another 2 minutes. If I'm going a little bit fast, I'm sorry, I'm trying to fit as much as I can in. You can always go back and watch it again and pause it if you'd like. We're going to come back to doing the actual viaduct, but what I want us to start doing is roughly, and these are different trees as well, roughly just start adding in some trees. So you can really choose what you want to do. Use some bigger ones like those, I don't really know what they're called. They come out, they've got the really bushy leaves. I'm not sure what they're called. I'm going to do like what we did with our river one, add a few branches coming off and over. Add a bit of a hill here. And some more trees in front. So you can even rub out little bits. Add some bushes in front, and just roughly for bushes, create a shape. And then you can go back in with some detail. So I'm just using the very side of my pencil. Really just adding some shading in there, like what we did last week in our trees, but just in a more solid form. So you can really choose different areas to shade. And even join some more together. So add more, add some trees coming through. Add some more bushes. This is just a way to surround an industrial part with some nature, and you can really work it in. So bring out that line. So hopefully you can start to sort of see a picture forming. You don't have to really be too fussy about where things go, as long as it sort of covers up the edges, or you can even finish the bridge down. I think it's nice just peeking through all the plants. You can add some trees where just the branches come through the top And you can really just add some leaves. Detailed than what we did in our gum tree, but they're not too detailed either. I'm just and adding these short dashes off in opposite direction. So sort of like what we did in our flower tutorial. So hope you can see that. I think that's a really easy and a really effective way to in the distance. And do our dotting that we did in the mountains, and even in the background, just do a bit of that. And you can add as much or as little detail as you want to. You don't have to really cover any or add shading if you don't want to. You don't have to add as many plants. I like to have this bit coming down just to add some lots of little things that you can just choose to do. It doesn't have to be the exact representation of the actual place itself. So you can even do what we did with our mountains of shading coming down. The grass there if you want, doesn't have to be perfect. You can add some, this is hatching. I like doing this for grass. Just in some areas, you might not be able to see it very closely, but this will take a while if you want to do it. Hopefully that focuses. Yeah, so like this, and it's just little bits of hatching, and you can really just do little bits of that in the grass, just to add some more detail if you want. I think it's nice along these lines, doing it quite dark. Just like our mountains where we did the dots or the circles. I just add some more detail in there. You can shade it in fully, and then you can add some detail on top. Heaps of options that you can do. And just add shading or any technique that you really want, you can add. I think cross hatching is really nice, especially for plants. I think it turns out really cool. It's sort of an edge. You can really do anything you want. So with all of those techniques that we've done, you can really have a go at trying different ones. Depends, I guess, on how much time you want to spend on it too, how much detail you want to put in. Cross hatching is really good for if you want to just do a quick rendition of a landscape. Blending's really fast and easy too, and it looks really nice. And then you can just add some more detail in. So I hope all of that makes sense, and I'm not going too quick. I'm going a little bit quick because I want to give you as much as I can, technique-wise and option-wise for you. You can always go back and watch on YouTube or the Wollondilly Library and pause it, try some different things. I'm just very roughly doing this, and you can see that these aren't too detailed, but they still build up part of that landscape. You can even do some more plants coming from the front, from the foreground. And you can even add our proper gum leaves that we did last week at the front. That would be quite nice as well. So there's so many options that you could do. I think if you've ever got the chance to add really detailed leaves at the front, definitely have a go, and it'd make your picture turn out really, really nice as well. Just give your Oh, sorry. What's happened? No battery. That's all right. We got time. And for these, just to create some depth, just add those lines. And you can even just shade in there as well to make it look darker. So I'm going quite rough at the moment, but I think if you all spend and time on it, you can really, really make it look quite nice. So I'm just going quite rough. But yeah, just keep adding detail. Find places where you can add detail. Maybe add some more in the trees, add more texture to the bricks. But I hope you can see with this how you can really start with something like a bridge and build it up to be a really, really beautiful landscape where you can add so much detail. You can add these beautiful leaves and bushes and really work around something like that. So if you have a house or a shed or even a garden bed, you can really do that first and then work around it. And from there, it was like us doing the river and then building the mountains around it. So that's a really good tip I recommend when you're doing landscapes, is find a subject or even a tree that you really like and then build a landscape around it too. So just keep going, adding more detail, add more the outlines, but really just start with the outline, and then as you go, you can slowly add detail and turn it into a really nice picture.
We've got not too many comments, but we've got one from Leslie that she's arrived late, so she's going to catch up on YouTube, but she actually used to live opposite that viaduct.
Oh, that's really cool. Hopefully I'm doing it justice then.
Yeah, wow. No other comments. I think everybody's busy working on their landscapes. I know Jeff's added another progress photo from his Burragarang Valley drawing. So I think that's been posted up.
Oh, they're really nice. You can sort of see how much detail you can put into landscapes, and like you can either do minimal or you can do lots of it, but yeah, they look really, really nice. It's cool seeing the progress shots from the outlines to the dots to the next bit. Sort of shows how the picture changes.
So I've actually been taking photos as we go along, particularly of this viaduct live, and I've been sending it through to my team at council, and I've been playing with them, guess this landmark. And then 2 minutes later, I send them another photo and another photo and another photo, and everyone can't get over how quickly it comes to life.
Oh, that's awesome. And
I think I just timed you guys. This just took 20 minutes.
I sort of rush everyone a little bit, but I think I want to exaggerate it as well and emphasize how amazing it is taking a sketchbook out. I usually, when I go on holidays, you can really take 10 minutes at a cafe and draw an outline of something. And then you can come home and add more detail, and there's a picture that you've drawn from a place that you've loved, whether it be in your own area or overseas, and you can paint them. I take a little watercolor pad, but really it doesn't take much time, and you can even just sit in the park and just have a cup of coffee and draw where you are without going, oh, that's going to take me so long to draw. You guys just smash all this out in not long at all. So I hope you really know how much skill you've got now, and I think you're all amazing drawers. So really take that out into your everyday after this virus is done too. So keep it going.
And I think as restrictions ease, I think it's easier and easier to get out there. Well, it might be hard for some people, but you can go and sit on a park bench now and be able to sketch, where a couple of weeks ago you weren't allowed to. So more and more facilities in the community are opening back up. One thing that our listeners and watchers might be interested in is I do know that the library is opening next week. So that's exciting. I'm not sure what that looks like, so you'll have to jump up onto the library Facebook page and see how that's going to work. But, you know, things are changing. We're starting to get back to some kind of normal.
Beautiful. I know it's exciting that the libraries are opening again.
Yeah.
I think Wollondilly especially has become so resourceful in technology and sharing online stories and online activities, and it's amazing. Really, really cool.
That I think we've all learned how to adapt. So it's been a journey. I mean, Liv, who would have thought? What are we onto our 6th week?
I think we're on our 6th week. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas a week before we did this, we didn't even know how we were going to do this. We just know we knew we wanted to do this. We just weren't sure how it was going to work. So yeah, how things have progressed.
Beautiful.
And it's lovely to jump on every Wednesday and see our little online community and see what they're doing.
I know, I'm loving that. That's really cool. But yeah, just keep drawing. And I know I've sort of rushed people today, but if you've got time later or even later in the week, just keep going and finish those landscapes and the viaduct that we've done. Choose something else to draw and send it through. It doesn't have to be what we've done today. If it's inspired you from today, send it through, and I'm excited to see it on the Facebook page. But I think that's all I've got for you today in terms of techniques and landscape tips. I might post some more on my Facebook page and maybe some tutorials using watercolors. If you want to have a look, my Facebook page is Live the Dream, and I think it will be on the video, and I'll just try my best and keep giving you as many resources as I can. So,
Liv, I think you can even comment on this post with your Facebook tag. I think you should be able to just share it in there. We've got a comment from Jeff. He said, "You've all done an excellent job in presenting these lessons. Thank you." Thanks, Jeff.
Beautiful.
I hope you stay with us, Jeff, because we're back again next week. What are we doing next week, Liv?
We're doing facial features, so like eyes, noses, mouths, ears. We're going to use them to build our own faces, so portraits.
Excellent. I'm sure there'll be a few more comments flood in very, very shortly. Let's see. And everybody, make sure you keep posting your progress shots. Send them through to library messenger, even if it's in a couple of days. Oh, Tony said, "I agree with Jeff." Thank you so much.
I've tagged my Facebook page in there at the bottom.
Lovely.
Yeah,
there we go.
And I'll try and put as many resources up as well, just so you've got some extra things in between these tutorials. I'll get onto them.
Jeff says self-portrait, so you can see what we look like.
That sounds really good. Get a photo of yourself or a mirror and we'll do them in 2 weeks.
I loved your comment before, Liv, talking about your puppy and just wanting to be patted. We might have to do one of these sessions with bring your own pet along.
That would be really cool.
I think we're done.
There we go.
Give it a second. No, I think that's it.
Beautiful. Thank you everyone for joining today, and I hope to see you next week.
We will. We'll see you at 10:30 next Wednesday. 10:30? Yeah, 10:30 next Wednesday, which will be the 2nd of June.
Beautiful. I'll see everyone then. Thank you.
All right. See ya.